It's a random Tuesday and you really want to play some Minecraft single player on your own. While searching for some good seeds to play on, you stumble across an old forum post from an unknown user. Intrigued, you hop onto Minecraft, you type in the seed and enter. Nothing feels off in the beginning, although you notice something is wrong. And before you can even think about leaving, you realize you can't. It's February 9th, 2025 when a channel named Zachary Fade uploads their first YouTube video.
I am hunting for seeds and found this very weird post on the forum.
The forum post shows us a seed by the name 0x and it seems to be a world meant for version 1.10. Our protagonist tells us that he's gonna play on the seed and the video comes to a close, but when I went into the channel, I noticed that there were no more videos. Although looking more closely in the description, I noticed a YouTube URL. Typing this in takes you to an unlisted playlist titled 0x, a series of videos hidden away, unseen by the public. And what I found in them was one of the most terrifying Minecraft stories I've ever come across. A story that led me to a direct confrontation with the protagonist himself. So grab a drink, make sure to subscribe, because this is the story of Zachary Fade. The first video on the playlist shows Zachary creating the world. He types in the seed and clicks create. Nothing too special, but the real story begins in the second video. Zachary spawns into the world, and it seems pretty normal. He walks a bit, finds a tree, and starts chopping it down. So far, nothing strange. He moves a little further away and begins to craft the logs into planks when, out of nowhere, we hear footsteps. When Zachary turns around, we see absolutely no one. But the weirdest part is what comes after. Zachary moves closer to the tree he just cut down and notices that somehow the logs are back. This is incredibly unsettling because we clearly saw him cut the tree literal seconds before. So how could this happen? Zachary crafts up a sign and starts to talk to us.
What the hell? I swear I cut that tree. Is it glitched?
He questions whether the cause of the tree coming back is a glitch, although I don't necessarily think this is the case. The video comes to an end here and we have a few questions. Whose footsteps were heard and why did the tree come back? Well, if we want to find out, we are gonna have to move on. Before that, I want to tell you about today's sponsor, War Thunder. It's a completely free-to-play vehicle combat game available on PC, PlayStation, Xbox and mobile devices. So no matter where you play, you can always jump right into the action. Now, War Thunder isn't just any game. It's got over 2,500 vehicles to choose from, including tanks, planes, helicopters and ships. From major nations across history, you can control everything from biplanes and armored cars of the 1920s to the latest fighter jets and battle tanks. So whether you're into aerial dogfights or intense ground combat, there's something here for you. One of the coolest things about War Thunder is its realistic vehicle damage system. The game's damage model is unlike anything you've ever seen before, where every vehicle is intricately designed down to its engines, fuel tanks, weapons and crew. And when things get intense, you can even see a detailed X-ray view of the destruction as the shells hit and tear through your vehicle, so you know exactly where things went wrong. Though what makes War Thunder stand out even more is its massive community. Join over 70 million players around the world in epic PvP battles. And here's the best part, you can play it for free right now on PC, PlayStation, Xbox and mobile devices. If you sign up through my link in the pinned comment or video description, you'll get a massive bonus pack. This includes multiple premium vehicles, the exclusive Eagle of Valor vehicle decorator, 100,000 Silver Lions and 7 days of premium account time. But don't wait, the bonus is only available for a limited time and it's just for new players or those returning after a break of 6 months. So make sure you don't miss out on that. Once again, War Thunder is free. It's available across all major platforms and by using my link you'll get all these awesome bonuses. So check it out and get started today. Thanks to War Thunder once again. And now it's time to get back into the video. He breaks the sign and looks around paranoidly before we see a house in the distance. Keep in mind this is a single player world and it's clearly proof that the world isn't normal. Zach starts to freak out a little, walking closer to the structure. Then he types,
What? This world is actually pretty creepy.
He questions why there is mycelium in a random plains biome, and looking twice, this is definitely out of the ordinary. It could be a glitch from a chunk error, although it's not really possible for a house like this to generate naturally. However, what Zachary says next is definitely pretty intriguing.
Wait, I remember this base from an old world. I don't know, maybe I am too paranoid.
Zach tells us that he recognizes this half-destructed base from an older world, which is pretty odd to say the least, but nothing will prepare you for what comes in the other half of the video. He walks away from the base, and whilst doing so, we see some mobs that just die out of nowhere right as the chunk loads.
What was that? Am I seeing things or what?
Zachary walks a little further before we see more oddities, this time some markings on the floor. These markings are interesting. He counts the blocks individually, then hovers a little above to get a better view of it. The first two markings are definitely weird. They are just lines on the ground with different lengths, but we notice that the third marking has actual numbers. 1050. Another thing I noticed is the fact that all the markings have got something in common. A 3-block gap between them, almost purposely differentiating them from each other. I tried my best to solve this by math and all types of things, although then I noticed that it's not too deep. These are coordinates, it has to be. A few minutes before, Zachary counted the blocks one by one, which gives us the exact number of blocks one line has. So the coordinates would be x minus 495, y 129, and z 1050. Though Zachary really doesn't seem to know this yet, and the episode comes to a close. The 5th episode begins at night, and Zachary is noticeably low on health and hunger. He fights off some mobs and digs down a small hole to stay put for the night.
I think I have to build a base first, then I can explore the world.
The video comes to an end here, but just as he said, he seems to have built a house in the 6th episode.
I built a house. Here is the tour.
Zachary shows us around the interior of his base, and nothing seems to be off at all.
This is where I'm gonna craft and cook. Here is the bed. It's quite empty still, but I will have to fill the house. I could use some chests. This is the gardening area. I like this flower. I would also like a pet.
He ventures outside and tours us around the base, although as he goes to one side, we notice something very wrong. A book and quill lying on the ground. Zachary immediately notices this and runs to the side to pick it up.
A book? This world is so weird. What is going on?
He runs back into his house and shortly after the video ends. Although in episode 7, we get this.
I'm gonna open the book and quill.
Inside the notebook we see a lot of Ys. Zachary also questions why are there many Ys, but what happens next is very interesting. Take a look. Zach opens the book again and turns the page to see a single name, Nathan. Zachary freaks out and immediately runs outside, digs a hole, throws the book inside and quits the game. But the question we get from this video is why? Why did Zachary get so scared at a mere name? Well, let's just say from this point on, things only get more harrowing. Zachary spawns back into the same world. It's raining and he seems to have no items in his inventory. He starts freaking out as he notices a sign right in front of him. The sign is noticeably in Cipher code and it translates into these words: "You're at fault." By the look of things, Zachary might have done something bad. He doesn't even have to be freaking out this much, right? Well, he breaks the sign and then types to us.
I deleted the world and it's the same spawn. On a random seed too. What is going on?
Zachary deleted the world and spawned into the exact same place again. He clearly explains that he didn't put the 0x fallen seed in and just created a random world. This is clearly out of the ordinary. And although it is possible to spawn on the same seed twice, it's incredibly rare. I mean, there's only a 1 in 2 to the power of 128 chance that it can happen. So it's very unlikely that this is normal. But then we get a more interesting message from Zachary. He types in, "I have something to tell you about," and right as he was going to type in something, he deletes the message and says never mind. But we notice that he types in 2 letters at the end of the message, N and A. The full message could very possibly be, "I have something to tell you about Nathan," the exact same name in the notebook. Could it be that Zachary has direct connection to Nathan, or is there something much darker? He walks away from spawn and chops down the exact same tree, although this time nothing appears to be wrong. He walks a little further to the plains biome, hoping that everything is back to normal, but yet again, we see that house in the distance. Nothing has changed at all. He passes by the house and walks to the area of the coordinates to see that the remainder of his tower is still there as well. But the most frightening thing is the fact that his house is still there too. Zachary walks straight to his base and looks around, clearly paranoid. And just as he goes to open the door, more footsteps are heard.
Am I hearing things?
Inside the base, things don't seem normal as well. But then we notice a sign inside the base.
Who gave you permission to leave, Zachary?
He shifts his attention to the chests. He opens the middle one to find another book and quill inside. Freaked out, he closes the chest and runs to a corner where he blocks himself off, and the video comes to an end.
You know what you did, Zachary?
I didn't do a thing. I don't know a thing.
Zachary finds a message in the notebook directly addressing him, and this makes him extremely frightened. He stashes the book in one of the chests and goes outside to explore more of the world. Although while walking towards a river, we get this pretty interesting clip.
What? I can't control my movements.
Zachary tells us that he can't control his character, which is pretty concerning. He crosses the river moments after, and then we notice a very run-down house in the distance. He climbs up the mountain and enters the base, nothing too unsettling just yet.
Nice house. I don't know whether I've built something like this before.
Zachary opens the chest expecting something normal, but again we see a notebook. He takes a step back from the chest and speaks.
Not another one. Nah bro, I am not gonna be part of a horror movie.
He jokes about not wanting to be in a horror movie, but at this point he doesn't have a choice. Zachary takes the notebook and opens it to see the contents inside. The first page alone is enough to make you feel intrigued. We see the name that is mentioned in the title, Daniel, and this seems to be his notebook. The following reads, "I don't know what on earth is happening. I keep seeing the name of an old friend." The sentence cuts off from here, which is really odd. Zachary closes the book and starts to fix the broken structure before returning to it with the message.
Let's continue reading this. I am freaked out.
He scrolls through the pages and the book doesn't look like it has much until he reaches page 5. The page reads, "No longer, they are not human, they are." He scrolls through one more page before we get the final sentence of the notebook. "Worse than the devil itself." This isn't just creepy. Whoever Daniel is talking about, they aren't human anymore. They've become something beyond comprehension. Zachary slowly walks back into his base after collecting some food, and right before the video ends, he tells us that he doesn't like the world. But let's get to the question. Who is Daniel referring to over here? Is it Zachary, or is it someone far worse? The episode begins with Zachary inside his base.
I made this chest here. I want to collect those books.
He shows us the chest, which now has a sign labeled Anomalies chest. It seems like Zachary is starting to document the strange occurrences, almost like he's trying to make sense of them. But before he can dwell on it for too long, he heads outside and begins walking back towards Daniel's base. That's when he notices something. Scattered along the path are several signs, 4 in total.
It's your fault. Your fault, perish. Daniel, I hope you find no one to trust, you betrayer.
We can speculate that this is written by the person Daniel was referring to in the last video, but it's also really confusing to know who is the good guy here. Well, that is so until we see another sign in the distance.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please, Nathan, stop.
This sign gives us some important information. The person was Nathan. What's unsettling is the fact that we don't know what happened to Daniel, and we will probably never know. Another thing we can point out is Zachary's reaction to the sign. He says, quote, "not his name again," which confirms that Zach actually knows who Nathan is. The video comes to an end with Zachary's paranoia hitting its peak.
I am so scared. What the hell do I do? I haven't heard of him for ages, and I don't want to hear about him.
Something is very, very wrong with this world, and if Nathan is really here, then Zachary may not be alone as he thought.
I haven't went this side.
Zachary continues to explore the world and goes to the side he hadn't been to. Although almost immediately, we see another base.
Not again, dude. I am so fed up.
In front of the base is a rather interesting sign. Until your torch turns red, Peter. The meaning is unclear, but one thing stands out, another name, Peter. Zachary goes inside the base to see a wall littered with signs.
Please, it's me, Peter. I would have replied to you that day. Wait, I never liked you. Leave me be.
Most of the signs are desperate messages left by Peter, although one of them stood out for me.
Nathan, stop. Nathan, why?
We see Nathan's name yet again. Zachary immediately takes out his signs to type to us.
What the actual? Poor dude. I went through the same thing almost. That man is not normal.
These signs give us confirmation that Nathan is definitely the antagonist of this story, and Zachary says that he went through almost the same experience. What did Nathan really do? Zach slowly walks back to the base, expecting nothing, only to get this. A book and quill right inside his base. We notice that the doors are open as well, which is incredibly unsettling because Zachary clearly closed it during the beginning of the video. Somehow, some way, someone has opened it. Zachary is not alone. He picks up the book and opens it to reveal many messages.
You selfish person, you are the worst. You will face every consequence. I will make sure of that. I am not dead.
Zachary panics. He throws the book outside and rushes to type messages in disbelief.
How is he not dead? How? Why?
Zach runs to the side, blocking himself off, and then the video comes to an end. Though we are finally starting to understand what's going on. Nathan is now directly speaking to Zachary, and from this message we can assume that he faked his own death. Zachary was also shocked at the message, "I am not dead," so what is going on here? The 12th episode is important. Zachary blocks off his door, isolating himself inside his base. He moves to the side and opens a notebook. Inside, he has written down every anomaly he has encountered in this world so far.
This is a single-player world, and somehow there are other builds. Mentions of a person I want to forget. 2 other people who have been in certain struggles. Weird glitches that take over my controls. Odd sounds I hear in the distance.
Zachary then types to us directly on the notebook.
This is clearly not normal. What do I do? Should I delete the world and try to start another world again?
It's a reasonable idea, but there is just one problem. He's tried this before and it didn't work. The video comes to an end, though we know something is still here. And this time it won't let him go. This is where everything changes. Subscribe because the truth is about to unfold. The Final Saga begins now. Zachary is on top of a mountain, testing out some TNT. We notice that it's nighttime, and he seems to be exploring a new place. Nothing seems off, however the final 10 seconds of the video is definitely frightening. We notice the structure right in front of Zachary and the screen glitches violently. The video immediately comes to an end, but what is another structure doing on top of a mountain? Well, episode 14 shows us exactly what it is. Zachary walks into the structure and finds a notebook inside a chest. And as he opens it, we notice that it belongs to Nathan.
Not him, not Nathan's book.
Inside the book, we get a lot of blaming and some interesting words by Nathan.
You will regret everything. 1, 2, 3. Daniel, you betrayed me. You said you would stay with me that day when I was bored, but you said you had something to do and left me. You never texted me again. That is why you are here. You will fall.
The first page is directly a message from Nathan to Daniel, and it seems like Nathan is so self-centered to me. I mean, it wouldn't make any sense to be mad over this. We can assume that Daniel never texted him back because Nathan was just way too obsessive, though there is more in the notebook.
Peter, you left me on red after I asked you to come to my place. You are a horrible person. You are the second fake friend. You will perish. That is why you are here.
This page is directed towards Peter, and it's just as odd as the first one. Sure, it's something you can get angry about, although it's not something too serious. Page 1 and 2 were directed at Daniel and Peter, and you can guess what page 3 is gonna be about.
You are the worst person ever. You didn't hesitate to move away from me. I asked, but you never gave. Your house burnt down? Yeah, that was me. Good for you. That is why you're here. Perish.
Zachary's reaction to this speaks for itself.
I hate you, Nathan. You are the horrible one. You obsessed freak who can't.
He opens the book again and scrolls through until he hits the 8th page, and this reveals almost everything.
0x Fallen. This seed is meant to be a prison for the people who don't work the way I want to. Everyone should work the way I want. So I made this place where I control the world. I hate people who can't follow my rules.
Zachary immediately blows up the area with TNT and runs down the mountain where he types this.
You faked your death so I would be guilty.
This is extremely dark. Though before anything could happen, Zachary falls down the cliffside and the video ends. These pages give us the true secret behind Nathan's intentions. He's clearly not normal as he wants the world to work under his control and hates the people who can't follow his rules. But how on earth did he make such a seed? And how is Zachary gonna escape? The final 2 videos are arguably the most frightening ones on the channel. Zachary has definitely deleted the world again as he is at world spawn. Right in front of him is a sign.
You will never be forgiven.
Zachary starts running away in a weird manner and then pauses the game. He resumes the game, though he still seems to be going the same way. To truly understand though, we have to read the description.
I tried to talk using Notepad, but my recorder didn't open it. However, I can't move the way I want. I keep walking in a random direction.
This clearly tells us what happened. Zachary is being controlled by something again. The 16th and final video on the channel shows Zachary still being controlled. He crosses a river and comes face to face with an unsettling sign.
Look out your door. You will perish.
The video comes to an end and we are left with a lot of questions. What does the sign mean? And most importantly, what happened to Zachary? This story has been one of the darkest ones I've covered, though I couldn't end it without getting to know the full lore. I tried absolutely everything, rechecking every video for something I missed, but unfortunately I couldn't find anything. There were too many unanswered questions, too many things that didn't make sense. I needed to know, and I only had one way to get the answers. I had to talk to Zachary himself. I found his email address written in the description in one of his videos, and I sent him a message. Hey Zachary, I'm not sure if you'll ever read this, but I have some questions on the video series you uploaded on YouTube. I get that you left Nathan behind, but why? Was it because he was obsessive, or was there something worse? Because from everything I've seen, it feels like there was more to it. What exactly happened between you two? What made you finally cut ties? And most importantly, what did Nathan try to do to you? I saw the signs, the messages, everything. He said he wasn't dead. He said you would perish, but I have a feeling this went way beyond Minecraft itself, you know? I don't know if you're comfortable talking about it, but I have to ask. What happened when he was at your front door? Because if what I've heard is even remotely true, then this story isn't just terrifying, it's genuinely insane. If you are willing to answer, I'd really appreciate it. 3 days passed by with no answer, and when I was starting to lose hope, I got a reply.
Hey, yeah, no worries, I am pretty comfortable talking about this. I met Nathan around 3 years ago in high school. He was not the nicest person, but I was just trying to make more friends. Around 4 months after I met him though, he started becoming very aggressive to me, and even started insulting my family, which I thought was extremely weird. Then another year later, he followed me home after we had an argument and he set our house on fire. At the time, I didn't know it was him, but our security cameras caught everything. He stood outside for a while, just staring at the house, then pulled something out of his bag and set the front of it on fire. The worst part? He waited. He stood there watching it burn for almost a full minute before running off. That was when I cut him off completely. He got arrested for it, but after a few months, he was out, and that's when the online stuff started happening. At first, it was small things. Fake accounts messaging me, weird emails, my old game servers getting hacked. I ignored it, but then, the 0x Fallen seed happened. I have no idea how he did it, but Nathan was obsessed with control. He wanted a world where he was in charge, where no one could leave. And he made one. I didn't realize it at first, but looking back, I think he started setting it up even before I left him. Maybe he was already planning something. The world didn't feel like a normal Minecraft world, it felt trapped. It didn't matter what I did, it always came back. In my last recording I saw a sign that said look out your door, and then my account was just disconnected. I still to this day couldn't get access to my account. And then, while I was still sitting there in shock, trying to figure out what just happened, someone knocked on my front door. At first, I thought it was just my mind, but then I heard it again. 3 slow knocks. I don't know why, but I froze. I didn't even want to check, but I had to. I went to my front window, and he was actually there. I called the cops immediately, and when they showed up, he was still there. He didn't try to run. He just stood there until they grabbed him. I honestly just moved out after this situation took place, and I didn't want to stay here any longer because it was just too much of a threat. However, I know that Nathan won't stop. He'll surely trap more people in the world he controls. Thank you for asking.
This email gives us everything we need to know. Nathan is clearly a psychopath who has hunger for control. Zachary barely escaped the world at the cost of his account. And just as he said, Nathan is far from done. While Zachary might be safe for now after moving, the shadows still linger. Just like Daniel and Peter, we're out to wonder who will be Nathan's next victim. Before you go, a huge thanks to War Thunder for sponsoring this video. If you haven't played it yet, or it's been at least 6 months since you last jumped in, now's the perfect time to get back into the action. It's free to play on PC, PlayStation, Xbox and mobile, and you can sign up using my links in the pinned comment or video description. And if you do, you'll get a massive bonus pack including premium vehicles, 100,000 silver lions and 7 days of premium account time. But it's only available for a limited time, so don't miss out. So thanks for watching, make sure to subscribe and have a marvelous day.